These are 10 of the best affordable back-to-school sneakers that you can grab right now. Of course, if you want to grab any of these pairs, I'll make sure to link them through the YouTube shopping tab on your screen. And make sure to stay tuned because later on in the video, I'm going to tell you guys how you could win a fire pair of sneakers and some fire socks to match. It's wild to think about, but it's already almost time to go back to school. And if you are looking for a fire pair of sneakers that are comfortable for all day wear and that you can throw on every day, I've got 10 pairs of sneakers on this list that not only look great, feel comfortable on foot, but also won't break the bank. So with all that being said, let's dive right into the list. Number 10, the Puma Speedcat OG. Originally released back in the 2000s, but now having a crazy resurgence in 2025, the Puma Speedcat OG was first inspired by F1 racing shoes. And I'll be honest, I'm not totally sure why racing shoes are coming back. I mean, kids are wearing cleats to school, which is kind of wild as well, but that's actually super wild. I don't get it. But either way, these super low profile racing inspired sneakers are hitting right now, and the Puma Speedcat OG is truly one of the OGs. The most popular colorway of this sneaker so far comes in a red suede upper accented by a white Puma logo and a black rubber outsole that wraps all the way up under the heel of the shoe. And actually, one of my favorite parts in the entire shoe is the traction pattern because it's inspired by tires. The Puma Speedcat is a very low profile shoe, which means there isn't much midsole there, so it's not gonna have a crazy amount of cushioning underfoot, and it's also a pretty thin sneaker. It's a very foot-hugging design. So if you like the sort of low-profile, sleek sneakers, then this is not a bad way to go. And realistically, for $100, it's also a great price. And with the increased popularity of these very low-profile, ballerina/motorsport-inspired sneakers, this shoe is going to be popular for probably a couple years. Number 9, the Adidas Samba. This is yet another pretty low-profile, narrow pair of sneakers that's been incredibly popular over the last couple years. Now, unlike the Puma Speedcat, the Adidas Samba has been around since 1949, over, wow, 70-something years now. Originally created as an indoor soccer shoe, the Puma Samba is now one of the most ubiquitous pairs of lifestyle sneakers out there. For the last like 2 or 3 years, everyone has been wearing a pair of these, and I understand it. They're good looking, simple, and clean sneakers. When I think about mall stompers, like the pair of shoes that you walk around in the mall, it's usually this. I see the popularity of Sambas as sort of this overreaction to the chunky dad shoe trend that we had in the early 2020s, and now it seems like lifestyle footwear is tending more towards the sleek, sort of European, soccer-inspired vibe. Of course, design-wise, the Adidas Samba is incredibly simple. You've got a leather upper accented by those classic Adidas 3 stripes, and then some kind of rubber cup sole. In a lot of cases it's gum, but you can also get it in really any color. The shoe comes in a million different colors. I guess that's one of the big benefits of this shoe being out forever. There's so many colorways to choose from. There are long tongues and short tongues and suede versions and non-suede versions and colorways that you would never even think of. There's Lionel Messi inspired colorways. It's just, there's so much. And while yes, they are a pretty narrow pair of shoes, I think if you have wider feet, you might want to go up half a size, or maybe this silhouette isn't for you because honestly it is a pretty narrow shoe. I will say when it's on foot, it does make your feet look small, and if that's something that you're going for, great, but it's definitely one of those like sleeker, smaller shoes. But hey, design-wise, especially from the side, it's low profile, it's clean, and it's incredibly wearable. And for just $100, it's not a bad price either. And realistically, if you're willing to wait a couple weeks to grab it from like an online sneaker resale site, then you can get it for under $100. In fact, check it out through the YouTube shopping tab on your screen. I think it's like 70 or 80. Now, to be honest with you, I do kind of see the popularity of Sambas waning a little bit over the next couple years, but realistically, it's a classic that you can never really go wrong with. So it doesn't matter if the shoe is incredibly popular or just a little bit popular. It's always gonna be sort of popular. Number 8, the Vans Old School. Actually, speaking of sneakers that are literally always popular, the Vans Old School is a perfect example of that. This canvas skate-inspired sneaker that first released back in 1977 is one of the most popular sneakers of all time. It's incredibly clean, it's simple, and it's as comfortable as a canvas pair of shoes from 1977 can be. Personally, as someone who grew up in Vans, this is one of my favorite pairs of sneakers on the list. The black canvas upper, accented by that black suede on the toe, at least in a classic colorway, with that Vans side stripe, so clean. And now in 2025, there are different variations of this shoe. There's the new school, which is sort of this chunky, super padded version. There's the more padded version with comfy cushion in the midsole, but if you're looking for that sort of sleek, everyday, surprisingly durable pair of shoes that you can throw on with anything, the Vans Old School Classic is the way to go, and it only costs $70. Actually, I'm noticing as I go through this list, almost every single pair on this list has gone up in price a little bit. 2 years ago, this shoe I think was like $65, maybe 60. Same thing with like the Sambas, they were 90 at one point. The Speedcats, they're all more expensive than they were. Kind of sucks, but realistically, they're all still great sneakers and they're all great prices. One of the things that I absolutely love about Vans, other than the clean skate-inspired aesthetic, is the fact that for any of their mainline silhouettes, like the Old Schools or the Authentics or the Slip-Ons, they've got like thousands of colorways. And if you actually buy a pair on Vans' website, you can customize it. So literally, no matter what kind of color or style or pattern that you're looking for, you can probably find it or make it happen on a pair of Vans Authentics. And worst comes to worst, buy an all-white pair and customize it yourself. That's what I used to do. It was the best. Honestly, most of the classic pairs of Vans are good options. I would recommend really any of them. So if you're looking for a classic, relatively durable, everyday wear pair of shoes that might not be the softest underfoot but looks amazing, go with a pair of Vans. Number 7, the Adidas Gazelle. At first glance, you might confuse the Adidas Gazelle with the pair of Sambas because it's a very similar profile. Another low-top athletic sneaker from the mid-1900s. This shoe first released back in 1966, so it's not as old as the Sambas. And actually, unlike the Sambas, it wasn't designed for indoor soccer. Instead, it was designed for general athletics and training. The Adidas Gazelle still sports a timeless design and one that is incredibly popular in the 2020s, specifically 2025. Unlike the Adidas Samba, the Gazelle primarily comes in a suede upper, so it changes up the aesthetic of the shoe a little bit. The Sambas, in some rare situations, you can find them in suede, but generally, if you're looking for a suede sneaker that looks like this, the Gazelle is the way to go. Or actually the Adidas handballs, to be fair. You should check those out as well, but I think the Gazelle is my favorite personally. Like many of the other shoes on this list, it's had multiple waves of incredible popularity, of course, right now being one of them. Back in the 1990s, this shoe was very popular as a skate shoe. Of course, back in the 1960s and 70s, it was popular as like a trainer. And the reason I put this shoe on the list is because it's a great looking everyday lifestyle pair of sneakers that you can throw on with pretty much anything. Whether it's shorts or jeans or like super wide leg pants, like really anything that you're looking for, this shoe has you covered. And what I like about this shoe versus the Samba personally is that it's not as narrow. It's still a relatively narrow shoe, but if you're a wider footer or you like a slightly less like sort of look on your shoes, like when you look down at your shoes, like, you know, I don't know, I can't really, I'm just making a sound, but it's like, you know, that sort of like pin needle look. If you're not a fan of that, then go with this. Plus there's a bunch of dope collaborations like the recent Bad Bunny collaboration that just dropped. It is absolutely fire. Check that out if you're a Benito fan at all. It's sick. Comfort wise, again, it's not gonna blow you away. It's a sneaker from the 1960s, so it's about as comfortable as sneakers from the 1960s can be. It's got a rubber cup sole, again, a suede upper, and then of course those Adidas 3 stripes, but all around, it's fine for all day wear. And for 120 bucks, while yes, it is more expensive than the Adidas Samba, I personally think the materials are better quality on this shoe, and that's why the price point is higher. So if you're looking for a low profile pair of Adidas, the Gazelles or honestly the handballs are a great way to go. Number 6, the Nike Air Force 1 Low. There's a reason why this shoe is the best selling Nike sneaker of all time. First released back in 1982 as a basketball sneaker, the Nike Air Force 1 Low quickly became a lifestyle classic. Some kind of cool tidbits of information if you're interested at all. This shoe was designed by Bruce Kilgore and was the first basketball sneaker from Nike to feature Nike Air in the midsole, which even to this day, with all the crazy like foams and cushioning technologies that we've got out there, this is still one of the more comfortable pairs in my collection. Now, as a lot of you sneakerheads probably know, because this shoe was first designed to be a basketball sneaker, it first came out as a high top for ankle support. Eventually, the low top version came out and that took off. The chunky look became incredibly popular for lifestyle wear, in the music scene, in the basketball scene, even the skateboarding scene. It's one of those shoes that you've probably owned a pair of in your life at some point. Specifically, the triple white colorway. The triple white colorway is one of those shoes that you buy pretty often because as soon as you get a scuff on it, you're like, oh no, it's not fresh anymore, I gotta get a new one. Well, some people did that. Other people just clean their shoes because they didn't have the money to buy a new pair of Air Force Ones. Like myself, there was no way my parents were gonna buy me a new pair every time I scuffed it. Some people got that, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. I also mainly wore Vans growing up because you could scuff them and you couldn't really tell. But hey, doesn't matter. Not only is the Air Force One the best-selling Nike sneaker of all time, it's also just one of the best-selling sneakers of all time. It's great looking, it's incredibly popular, it's never, honestly, ever been out of style. I think maybe now in 2025, it's the least popular it's ever been, and yet it's still incredibly popular. It's basically like The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Even though a Dwayne The Rock Johnson movie hasn't come out in a little bit, you still know who he is, and he's still very popular. If you saw him on the street, you'd be like, Dwayne, or The Rock. I don't know what you'd be like, but that's probably what I would be like. Terrible metaphors aside, the Nike Air Force 1 Low will always be popular, it's surprisingly comfortable, and the all-white look in particular goes with a lot. Now, unfortunately, this is definitely one of those shoes that over the last like 3 or 4 years has jumped up in price pretty significantly. I think as recently as maybe 2020 or even 2021, this shoe was selling for like $90 retail, and now in 2025, it's going for $115, which is a $25 price bump, which is high. That's a lot. That being said, if you're gonna wear this shoe every day, $115 is still a good price. And if you're willing to do some legwork, you can probably find it cheaper at places like the Nike outlet or even on resale sites, which again are linked somewhere. But really quick, let me tell you guys about this back to school giveaway that I'm running with Core. Core is a platform that allows you to connect with your favorite creators and brands in a new way. Core allows you to earn collectible badges that in some cases enter you for things like giveaways. In this case, the back to school giveaway that I'm running. So to enter this giveaway, all you need to do is collect 3 Core badges, which will be linked in different videos throughout the month. The first badge is actually linked right there. And the prize is a $150 StockX gift card, which you can use for any pair of sneakers, and a set of Apothecary socks. Actually, it'll be a gift card for Apothecary socks so that you can buy socks to match the sneakers. So if you want a chance to get fresh for back to school for absolutely free, make sure to get the first core badge linked in the description below. Also, if you haven't tried out my sock brand Apothecary, I think we make the world's best socks. They're incredibly comfortable, they're incredibly breathable, and they look great with all of the sneakers in your collection. And if you want to look good and be as comfy as possible for this back to school season, make sure to grab a pair of Apothecary socks using the link in the description below, and if you use my code Seth, you get $10 off of your first purchase. And actually, I also forgot to mention we're running a back to school promo where if you spend $60 on our website, you get a free pair of limited edition socks. So a lot of discounts can be had, a lot of socks, a lot of free socks, so check us out, apothecary.com. Number 5, the Adidas Evo SL. So this shoe is the only real modern running sneaker on the list, as in it just released last year and it's got all new tech. But the reason I decided to put this shoe on the list is because it's one of the most comfortable, if not the most comfortable shoe on the list, and it's a lifestyle hit right now. Which makes total sense because it looks incredible. Like, this shoe is simple, it's clean, but man, it looks fresh. In addition to the fire look of the sneaker, it's also incredibly lightweight, and that's mainly because of this ultra thin, very breathable mesh upper, which is great for both what it was designed to do, which is running, but also for just general lifestyle wear. It keeps your feet very, very cool and aerated, but also feels like a pair of socks on your foot. Like, it doesn't feel overly bulky or like it's confining your foot. Not only that, there's some nice padding around the ankle area, which gives your heel some nice cushion, and then you get to the midsole with this Light Strike Pro, and it is crazy soft underfoot. This is actually my second pair of this shoe. That's how much I like this sneaker. It's a great shoe for everyday wear, whether you're running in the morning and then going to the office, or just wearing to the gym, or even wearing to school. It's great for a lot of different things, whether you're looking for insanely soft underfoot comfort or just a great running sneaker. This shoe's kind of got you covered. And again, if you like the way it looks, you like that sort of futuristic running vibe, you're gonna love this sneaker. Now, in terms of price point, it is on the pricier side compared to some of the other shoes that we've talked about. It retails for $160, but honestly, if you're gonna rock it a lot, I think it's worth it. And again, you can probably find it cheaper on resale sites. I actually bought this pair from Goat, I believe, and I got it for like $140. Now with fees and everything, it was around $160, but in some of the other colorways that maybe aren't as popular as the classic white and black, you can get it for even cheaper. Number 4, the OnCloud Tilt. This is another incredibly heavy rotation sneaker for me. I keep this by my door, I wear it all the time. Designed by the Swiss running company On, the OnCloud Tilt is different because it's not made for running specifically, it's made for mainly lifestyle wear and walking. And because of that, it still has that now iconic OnCloud look with the CloudTech Phase midsole and also the Helium Superfoam, which feels amazing underfoot, but it's also an incredibly cushioned shoe. And actually, since I already mentioned the midsole, let's just dive into that. On is very well known for the midsoles that have these punch outs that go all the way through. It's called CloudTech Phase, and essentially what it is are these crumple zones that allow for a lot of compression in specific areas depending on where you're putting your weight. Pair that with the foam that they use in the midsole and you get this incredibly, dare I say, cloud-like ride. And honestly, if you haven't tried On sneakers before, you kind of got to. They're all great. They make sneakers for a ton of different use cases, whether it's tennis, whether it's running, whether it's max cushion, like the brand new Cloud Surfer Max, which is actually coming up in a future video, so stay tuned for that. Subscribe if you haven't. So far, after having probably 15 plus pairs of On shoes, it's hard for me to find a pair that I don't like. Now, there are pairs that I like less than others, but generally, they're all great. Now, of course, you do have to like the On aesthetic, and if you don't like that, you're probably not gonna like the shoes, but they're incredibly comfortable. They've got that super minimal Swiss design language, and in the case of the OnCloud Tilt, you've also got this sort of faux lacing system. What you might not have guessed is that this shoe is actually a slip-on, but because it's got these laces that are sort of stretchy and elastic, it looks like you've got laces. So you get all the benefits of a slip-on shoe without looking like a boring slip-on shoe. Now, continuing on with the overall pretty insane comfort of the shoe, which honestly might rival the Adidas Evo SL. I don't know why I said that shoe was the most comfortable on the list, because I think this is up there with it. They're both great. That one might have a softer cushion, but this one has a probably more well-cushioned upper, so it depends on what you like. Also, visually, it depends on what you like. I personally prefer the look of the Adidas Evo SL, but this one's also very clean in my opinion. For any Zendaya fans out there, this is a pair that she wears a lot, the OnCloud Tilt in the black and white colorway. I love this shoe. It's absolutely fire. It's incredibly wearable, and it's incredibly comfortable. It comes in at $170, which is not cheap, but again, it's one of those shoes that if you think you're gonna wear it a lot, I totally think it's worth the money. Number 3, the New Balance 530. Now, I'm kind of embarrassed to say this because I've been making sneaker reviews for the last 10 years and I've worn thousands of pairs of sneakers from every brand, but according to employees that I've talked to at multiple New Balance locations, the 530 is their best-selling lifestyle silhouette. And once I learned that about like 6 months ago, I started to see them on everybody's feet. So the New Balance 530 first debuted back in the 1990s as a running sneaker, and now 30-something years later, the 530 is one of the most popular lifestyle sneakers out there. A lot of that has to do with the sort of 2000s tech running sneaker trend being super in the last couple years, so it makes sense why this shoe is so popular, but it also is a shoe that you can wear with a lot of different fits, whether it's high fashion or just everyday casual wear, and it's a very comfortable shoe as well. The upper of the shoe fits perfectly with that tech runner trend. You've got metallic silver overlays, you've got white, you've got wide meshes. It's surprisingly breathable. I guess not that surprising because you've got a bunch of mesh on the upper of the shoe, and the upper is pretty well padded all the way around. It's funny because like 5 years ago, I think everyone would have hated this shoe. everyone would call it like the cookout specials, kind of like the Nike Monarchs. But now in 2025, people are literally walking the runway in this sneaker. It's crazy to me, but the more that I've worn it, I kind of get it. For a pretty complex looking pair of sneakers, the versatility that this shoe provides, especially for modern fashion, is really impressive. Now in terms of comfort, as they call out in the midsole, you've got absorbed cushioning and also a relatively soft foam underfoot. And for everyday wear, it's great. It's not overly plush, but it's also not stiff. And this white, silver, and blue colorway is by far and away the most popular colorway of this shoe. And because this shoe has become so popular, New Balance has started collaborating with big collaborators like Salehe Bembury on the silhouette, and of course those pairs are pretty hyped up. To be real with you, I don't know how long this trend is going to be popular. I think it's probably got another at least year or so of life left to it, but even after the trend kind of dies out, I still feel like the 530 is just a great everyday shoe for lifestyle wear. Now besides the obscene popularity of this shoe and the fact that you can wear it with a lot of different things, this shoe also comes in at an incredibly reasonable $100. But seriously, there's only one other sneaker cheaper than this shoe on the list, and that's the Vans Old Schools, and this shoe is more comfortable, it's more trendy, and it's a great all-around everyday shoe. It's hard not to recommend. Number 2, the Air Jordan 4. All right, I get it. The number 2 shoe on the list is by far the most expensive, generally coming in at around $215 to $220 retail. Yeah, I know, that's at least $50 more than every other shoe on the list, at least. But with that being said, the reason I put the shoe on the list is one, because it's one of the most popular sneakers that you can buy right now, specifically within sneakerhead communities, but also if you go on places like StockX, you can find pairs of these in colorways that are still incredibly clean for well under retail. Like I'm talking $140, $150 for a $200 something shoe that's very, very popular. It's worth checking out. Now for those of you that maybe aren't super familiar with this silhouette, this is the 4th Air Jordan sneaker, as you could probably guess from the name. It first released back in 1989, and it's one of the first Air Jordan sneakers to feature visible air. Now the Air Jordan 3 did it first, but this is the second one with visible air in the midsole. However, it is actually the first Air Jordan sneaker to feature breathable mesh, or I guess a netting on the side of it, which did kind of start a trend that continued on through following retro Air Jordan sneakers, or at least retro now, but it really was one of the most iconic details on this shoe, the netting on the side panel and of course underneath the tongue. Now out of pretty much every pair of sneakers on this list, the Air Jordan 4 is probably the most sneakerhead friendly. It's a pair of sneakers that sneakerheads have been drooling over for decades. You've got this colorway, the white cement colorway, which is one of the original Air Jordan 4 colorways, one of the most popular. You've got the undefeated 4s, which are incredibly hyped up and just dropped and are selling for like $600 at the moment. You've got the Nigel Sylvester Air Jordan 4s, which in a lot of sneakerhead circles is considered to be probably the sneaker of the year. You've got the upcoming Cavestone Air Jordan 4s, which drop in September, which also are going to be very popular, but probably not resell for too much over retail. There's a lot of different options, and all of them are very popular and look great with a lot of different fits. One of the reasons that I like the Air Jordan 4 so much is because it's a mid-top sneaker, or even in some cases a almost low-top sneaker. You can wear it with shorts, you can wear it with jeans, you can wear it with wide legs, thin legs, whatever you want to rock it with, and it still looks good. It was originally designed as a basketball sneaker, obviously, so it is made for performance. Now, the tech specs don't really line up with the tech specs that you get in modern basketball sneakers, but it was originally made for performance, so if you wanted to, you could play basketball in it. Honestly, it gets pretty hot on foot, but if you're a sneakerhead and you're looking for that like fire pair of everyday sneakers that have that like level of hype to them, a pair of Air Jordan 4s, you really can't go wrong. Some of the colorways that I'd recommend are maybe the oxidized greens. They dropped last year. They're going for well under retail. There's this like yellow and white colorway that released, I think, at the end of the last year that's going for under retail. The rare Air 4s that just dropped, also going for under retail and actually still sitting in Foot Locker, so you can check those out. Or if you want to go for more of the hypey direction, you can go the white cement 4s, which sell for around retail on resale sites, so not a bad pickup. So there's a lot of options out there for you. But no matter which pair of Air Jordan 4s you pick, you're gonna love them. Number 1, the Asics Gel 1130. I think the Gel 1130 might be my favorite pair of Asics of all time. It's taken me a while to get here. I was a huge fan of the Gel Cano 14s. I still love that shoe. I've been a big fan of really any of the retro Asics silhouettes, especially the ones that they've been bringing back recently. They all have a very similar vibe, and they all feel amazing on foot, and they all are very trendy at the moment because of that sort of 2000s tech runner trend that we talked about earlier. But the Gel 1130, in my opinion, is the perfect mix of all of the best parts of Asics. First and foremost, let's talk about looks, because this shoe, in my opinion, looks amazing. It fits with a lot of different fits, whether you're, again, like we talked about with the New Balance 530s, walking the runway, going on a run, or wearing the shoe casually. This shoe can do all of that without any problems. It's incredibly on trend right now with the wide mesh and the metallic silver overlays. There are a ton of different colorways that are incredibly popular, like this one. I think the clay brown colorway is something like that. It's like white, silver, and brown. There's a black and silver colorway, which is also crazy popular, maybe even more popular than this one. And kind of like with the Air Jordan 4, there's also very hyped up colorways. There's this gallery department pair with paint splatters. It's going for like $2,000 right now. It's nuts. But aesthetically, if you're going for this vibe, the Gel 1130, in my opinion, is the best way to go. I think it's a very visually balanced shoe. I think all of the details come together in just the right spots, that every part of the shoe feels like it was very specifically designed in this way to make it look balanced. if that makes sense. I guess what I'm trying to say is that there's nothing about this sneaker, there's no elements of this shoe that I feel like are out of place. With a lot of the other sneakers on the list, there are things that I like and I don't like. With this shoe, I'd say I like pretty much everything. You've got a very breathable upper because of the mesh. You've got a nicely padded upper as well. And then moving down to the midsole, it's very well cushioned, but it still gives you arch support and it's not overly cushioned. Like, this is the kind of midsole that I guess would lean more on the firm side, but the softer of the firm side. Like, it's not gonna feel like a marshmallow, but it's also not gonna feel unstable. In fact, it's got a very wide base. You're not gonna feel like you're gonna roll off of the shoe, and it's pretty wide footer friendly. But the main reason that I think this shoe, which actually first released back in 2008 as the little brother to the Gel Kayano 14, is so popular, is what I was trying to say before I kind of went off track, is that this shoe retails for $100. It's one of the cheapest shoes on the list, and it's also one of the most popular. And that's why it's number one on my list. Let me know in the comment section down below if you agree with this list, what sneakers you think I left off. Obviously, there are thousands of pairs of shoes available on sale right now. Tons of great pairs that I didn't even mention. So of course, let me and everyone else who's reading the comments know which shoes you think are the best in the comment section down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you all in the next one.